Part 18. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 171. As a grassroots police station, although it does not need to handle major cases like the city bureau, it still needs to handle a lot of things every day. Today Jong San lost his battery car, and tomorrow Lee Si lost his wallet. What kind of conflicts are there between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law? The parents have to take care of everything. Coupled with the manpower problem, Zhangjiawan police station has almost piled up a mountain of various cases. So when Lu Ming, the deputy director, saw what Yang Lin had just done, he immediately had a bold idea. Xiao Wu, go to the archives and find all the files on the theft cases that have not been solved in the past year. Suddenly hearing Lu Ming's words, the young policeman whom he called Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment, and then said with a slight hesitation. Lu Suo, are you sure you want to find out everything from the past year? Of course, stop nagging and go quickly. Okay. As he spoke, the young policeman walked towards the archives room. When he came out again, he already had a thick stack of files in his arms. When he appeared with this thick stack of files, all the policemen in the police station immediately showed doubts. Obviously they couldn't understand why Lu Ming made such a decision. Until Lu Ming casually took out one of the many files and walked to Yang Lin. Hey, Mr. Yang, these files are cases on which we have made no progress in the past year. These cases either lack substantive evidence or lack key clues. With the current police force and technical means in our institute, it is really impossible to detect it, so you see, why don't you help us do the calculations? If we can break it, we can do it. If we can't, there is nothing we can do. As soon as these words came out, both the police officers in the station and the audience in the live broadcast room were all stunned. They never expected that Lu Ming could come up with such an idea. Good guy, this deputy director is an eclectic talent. That is, he did not regard Yang Lin as an outsider at all, nor did he look down upon him. Thank you for being able to think of this method. However, there is no other way. The detection rate of grassroots police stations is less than 30%. In addition, the amount involved in many cases is not high. If they are left alone, they will become unsolved cases. 30%? I can tell you responsibly that these figures are high. He took advantage of this opportunity. Then again, can Yang Lin really solve all those old cases? If that's the case, then he can be considered a great virtuous person. While everyone was talking about it, Yang Lin also looked at the files with great interest. From his perspective, each of these cases is more or less contaminated with some karma. Although not much, quantitative changes will also produce qualitative changes. More importantly, in this police station, you have to deal with countless people every day. It is simply a treasure place for cultivating karma. After looking at it, he pointed to the top file and said, "This man's gold watch should not have been lost. If nothing else, it should have been left under the bed. Just let him open the bed and look for it." Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's words, Lu Ming immediately asked a policeman on the side to call the owner. Half a minute later, a strange look appeared on the policeman's face. "Lu Suo, the owner just said that he found the gold watch he lost 6 months ago under the bed." As soon as these words came out, the policemen present widened their eyes. Especially the policeman who handled the case gave Yang Lin a thumbs up. It's really amazing. But before everyone could recover from the huge shock, Yang Lin pointed at the second file and said, "The family's lost pet dog is still alive. If nothing else happens, it should be at the animal shelter in the north of the city at this time. You can notify the dog owners now and let them take their dogs back." As soon as he finished speaking, the police immediately contacted the Chinbei animal shelter. In fact, they are using the gold in their hands to fill the holes of investment failure. Once is a coincidence, the other two are inevitable. This person's mobile phone has been resold many times and should have arrived at Polaris Information Plaza in Baihua District, where a theft gang sells stolen goods. Or he figured out the identity and location of the thief. Faced with Yang Lin's doubts, Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment, and then looked at Lu Ming aside. Faced with such a result, the police officers present were already numb. Then came the fourth portion. Each case takes less than 2 minutes to solve. 2 cases were solved in less than 5 minutes. This efficiency was terrifyingly high. Their family's money was not stolen by thieves, but by their children who were in junior high school. Huh? This case is interesting. If nothing else, a lot of stolen mobile phones can be found there. Just when the policemen at the scene were looking excited, Yang Lin suddenly looked at the last file in his hands and let out a sigh. However, Yang Lin had no intention of giving the file to him just like that. Instead, he asked with great interest. The result was exactly what Yang Lin said. There really was a Shiba Inu there that was exactly the same as the one on the file. After calculating the location of the pet dog, Yang Lin quickly picked up his fingers on the third file. The only thing they can do now is to verify the final result after Yang Lin tells it, and then find and arrest people. After an hour of this, only a few files were left in the pile of files that had been moved and placed in front of Yang Lin. Can you tell me what is going on in this case? As the young policeman named Xiao Wu spoke, he prepared to put aside the file in Yang Lin's hand. Speaking of it, this is also an unsolved case. I remember that I just started working at that time. Xiao Wu, why is this file here? Wasn't this a case from 10 years ago? Lu Ming had a wry smile on his face. The fifth copy. Check this child's recent consumption situation, everything will be clear. As Yang Lin was right for the second time, all the police officers in the office couldn't help but look at each other. But obviously this is just the beginning. Or directly find the location of the lost object. This person probably didn't lose the gold, but his investment failed, so he lied and claimed that the gold was stolen. As Yang Lin picked up files one after another, a theft case quickly came to a conclusion. After the final confirmation, the results were exactly the same as what Yang Lin said, without any difference. Huh? Then I probably accidentally took them together when I just took them. After seeing the contents of the file clearly, his expression immediately condensed. Suddenly hearing his words, Lu Ming immediately put his head over. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 172. Not long after I started working, I received a report from a nearby construction site that one of their accountants had run away with more than 1 million yuan in wages paid to the workers. That was more than 1 million. Even now it is a very large amount, so the institute immediately set up a task force. As Lu Ming spoke, the faces of some of the old police officers present could not help but become serious. It's a pity that the Skynet system didn't have full control of the city at that time. No matter how hard we searched, we couldn't find the accountant who absconded with the money. Even after so many years, there is still no news about him. As he said this, Lu Ming's face showed a hint of sadness. But soon this sadness turned into expectation. Teacher Yang, have you figured out where the suspect is? As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes immediately focused on Yang Lin again. There is no doubt that compared to the previous trivial cases, this big case that has been in the dust for more than 10 years can arouse their interest more. However, Yang Lin's next answer was a bit difficult for them to accept. Pandeo has indeed made some calculations about the suspect, but according to Pandeo's calculations, the suspect should have been dead for many years. Maybe it's because he was already dead that you couldn't find him. What? The suspect is dead. No one present thought that what Yang Lin had calculated turned out to be this, so that they couldn't accept it for a while. Also shocked were the viewers in the live broadcast room. No way. The suspect who has been searching for 10 years has died a long time ago. Is it so exciting? I just remembered what Director Lu said. I seem to have seen this case in the newspaper when I was a child. This case is very famous in Shanghai. I remember at that time I was wondering if the accountant secretly went abroad by boat. But I think what Yang Lin said is not impossible. If the suspect is really dead a long time ago, it makes sense why no news about him has been released during the nationwide manhunt for so many years. The previous cases were all calculated correctly. There is no reason why this case should be calculated wrong. I believe it is absolutely impossible for Yang Lin to make a mistake. The scheming frog keeps touching your belly. The suspect was killed by someone else. For a while, everyone was speculating. I don't know how long it took before Lu Ming and the other policemen finally recovered from the huge shock brought by Yang Lin. And the first thing he did after he recovered was to quickly ask, "Teacher Yang, you said the suspect is dead. When did he die? What was the reason for his death?" Facing Lu Ming's series of questions, Yang Lin once again took out the 3 copper coins and a tortoise shell. After some divination, he continued to answer. If Pandeo's calculations are correct, he should have died on Gamao Day, Weivue month, Gai Sai year, which was June 6, 10 years ago. The cause of death should be murder, with a sharp weapon. As soon as Yang Lin finished his answer, the expressions of Lu Ming and some of the veteran police officers present who had experienced that case changed drastically. 10 years ago, June 6 was the first day of the college entrance examination in 2013. Isn't that the day when the crime was reported? The suspect died on the day the crime was reported. How is this possible? Yeah, I remember we saw the suspect in a surveillance video that day. How could he have died that day? Teacher Yang, you may have made a mistake in your calculation. I also remembered one thing. It seemed that that day was the day when the suspect's daughter was taking her college entrance examination. Yes, yes, yes. I remember it too. But I think what Teacher Yang said is very likely to be the final truth. Otherwise, the whole city was looking for the suspect, and there would be no reason for him to avoid all road entrances and exits. But if he was murdered, then it all makes sense. So, our initial investigation direction was wrong. Pandeo has figured out the specific location of his body. You just need to dig him out and everything will be solved. Where did the suspect's body go? Facing the expectant gazes of everyone, Yang Lin did not answer immediately this time. Instead, he pointed to a place on the file and said. In an instant, everyone present looked at Yang Lin with disbelief. He hasn't left there all these years. After listening to the content on the phone, he first took a long breath, and then said to Yang Lin solemnly. For what reason did the murderer kill the suspect? Where was the suspect's body taken? Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's question, Lu Ming first looked through the file, then pointed to the map beside him and said. If that's true, it's absolutely horrific. It has to be said that Yang Lin's statement was so shocking that the police officers present were not sure for a while. Even the viewers in the live broadcast room did not expect that an ordinary theft case could have such a turn. Ah! Have you figured out where the body is? As soon as these words came out, there was undoubtedly another flat-bottomed thunder, which blew everyone up and turned them upside down. It's impossible. If his body was really buried there, it would have been dug out during the construction. The above means that we don't have conclusive evidence yet, so we can't conduct a large-scale search for the time being. After some careful discussion, the police officers present vaguely recognized Yang Lin's statement. Where is the construction site where the suspect originally worked? That's right. If Pandeo's calculation is correct, the suspect's bones should be buried in that school. But before he finished speaking, Yang Lin interrupted him and said. But at the same time, a series of new problems also emerged. The suspect who killed him. Teacher Yang, I just reported the matter to my superiors. The school was not completed until about half a year after what happened. It didn't take long for him to get instructions from his superiors. Evidence. Does the suspect's body count? But considering that the impact of this case was too great, Lu Ming finally reported the situation. This time things got serious. And this series of questions finally came to Yang Lin again. If it is true, then the murderer is definitely inseparable from the group of people who did the construction. What? The suspect's body is under Zhangjiawan Middle School. That's right, we also went to the scene to see it, and we didn't find anything unusual. It's a bit incredible to think about. Zhangjiawan Middle School is not far from here. It was not fully built at that time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 173. In the police station, as Yang Lin said what he just said, the eyes of everyone present were more or less unbelievable. After all, his previous remarks were shocking enough, and now he even claims to have figured out where the body is buried. If the results he had just calculated were not correct, the policeman present would probably regard him as a madman. I don't know how long it took, but Lu Ming, the deputy director, also looked at Yang Lin with a serious face. Teacher Yang, you said you have successfully calculated the location of the suspect's body. How sure are you that you can find him? Hearing Lu Ming's question, Yang Lin pinched his fingers first, and then slowly said. About 90%. After all, Pandeo has never met this person before and can only make inferences based on his basic information. A little error is inevitable. 90%. Perhaps because he didn't expect that Yang Lin could be so sure, Lu Ming once again fell into silence. Only this time he didn't stay silent for long. In just half a minute, he suddenly said loudly to everyone present with a serious face. This case has been in the dust for too long. If the suspect did not abscond with the money but was killed, it means that he has been wrongly accused for 10 years. No matter what I say today, this case must be investigated clearly, so I decided to go to Zhangjiawan Middle School to conduct a search immediately. I must find the body and give him justice. As soon as Lu Ming said these words, all the police officers present were in an uproar. Lu Suo, Zhang Suo is not here today, why don't we wait until he comes back to talk? Yeah, no matter what happens, we have to report the matter to the city bureau, and then we'll see what the city bureau decides. Although Teacher Yang's calculations are very accurate, things are different this time. If we don't find the body, the negative impact will be too great. Yes, it's being broadcast live across the country now. We can't make such a big mistake in front of a national audience. Without exception, everyone present wanted to persuade Lu Ming to calm down. And their consideration was not unreasonable. After all, the place where the body was buried was not somewhere else, but a school. In addition, at this time, it will be difficult to keep it secret once the excavation is carried out. But facing everyone's persuasion, Lu Ming suddenly became excited. I know that hasty excavation may have some bad effects, but have you ever thought about what kind of life the suspect's daughter has lived over the years? You don't know, I know. It is not often said on the internet that justice may be late, but it is never absent. But what is delayed justice to the people who have really been harmed? If we are still hesitating to receive delayed justice, are we worthy of the clothes we wear? Faced with Lu Ming's extremely excited words, everyone present immediately fell silent. Although they have not come into contact with the suspect's daughter, from the file information just now, they can imagine how an adolescent girl who is about to take the college entrance examination will feel when she suddenly learns that her father has become a criminal who is absconding with money. Feel. And what kind of torture it is to have no information about his father for so many years. I don't know how much time passed, but a young policeman suddenly said with a serious face. I support Lucio. It's just a school. I don't believe we can't find a body even if we dig 3 feet deep. With his words, other people present also took the initiative to stand up and said, yes. Justice has been delayed for 10 years, and it cannot continue to be delayed. Come on, let's look for it now. I don't believe we can't find it. I'll get the tools. After finally waiting for everyone to calm down, Lu Ming looked at Yang Lin again. Teacher Yang, let's set off now. In addition, I have to find the suspect's relatives. Maybe you can use them to locate the body more accurately. After saying this, he turned around and made a call. After he finished the call, he once again said to the policeman at the police station, leave 2 people to look after the house. Everyone else should pick up their tools and follow me. As soon as he finished speaking, about 20 people in the police station all picked up their tools. And when this scene fell into the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room, the audience in the live broadcast room couldn't help but get excited. I didn't expect that Yang Lin would encounter such a big case on his first day here. This is really exciting. Yeah, I originally thought that the police station handled only trivial cases, but I didn't expect that there would be such a big case. If the body is really found as Yang Lin said, then this is really a big case. What if no body is found? Well, if no body is found, they will be in big trouble. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible for Yang Lin to make a mistake. They're going. Not long after all members of the Zhangjiawan police station gathered, they walked to the gate of Zhangjiawan Middle School, which was less than 500 meters away from the police station. It's mid-morning now, and there are still classes on campus. Even on the school playground, there are many students taking physical education classes. When Lu Ming appeared at the school gate with a group of uniformed police officers and a Taoist priest wearing Taoist robes, he immediately attracted the attention of countless passers-by and students. The man in charge of guarding the gate was even more puzzled. And when he heard Lu Ming say that there were corpses buried in their school, his expression suddenly changed. Oh my God, you said someone buried a body in our school. This is too scary. I have to tell our principal about this. As he spoke, he made a phone call. 5 minutes later, a middle-aged Mediterranean man hurried over. Director Lu, what is going on? How could there be a body buried under our school? Even if there are corpses, it is a normal thing. This place was a mass grave 30 years ago. After hearing Mediterranean's words, Lu Ming was not moved at all. Principal Joe, this body is of great importance. We must find it today. Please cooperate with our work and let those students return to the classroom immediately without affecting our excavation. This. Although Mediterranean was in a difficult situation, in the end he did not forcefully stop him. After all the students were rushed back to the classroom, Lu Ming looked at Yang Lin questioningly again. Teacher Yang, can you give me a general direction? Hearing Lu Ming's question, everyone present looked again at Yang Lin, the only one wearing Taoist robes. And Yang Lin did not disappoint Lu Ming. After taking a look at the scene inside the school, he pointed directly at the school playground and said, that area of the whole school has the most negative energy. If nothing else happens, the body should be under the playground. Under the playground track, to be exact. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of everyone present instantly changed again. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 174. Before Yang Lin pointed out the specific location, everyone had some guesses. But they never expected that the body of the deceased would be buried under the playground track. And just when everyone at the scene was feeling frightened and inexplicable, an ordinary-looking young woman also ran over in a hurry. After she saw Lu Ming, her face immediately showed nervousness. Uncle Lou, is my father's body really buried in this school? Did he really abscond with the money? When saying these two sentences, the woman's words were vibrato. Obviously she won't be able to accept the truth for a while. After being questioned by her, Lu Ming nodded solemnly. Xiao Yu, don't get excited yet. We are about to enter the school to carry out excavation work. Until your father's body is finally found, nothing can be concluded too early. But just as he finished speaking, Yang Lin on the side suddenly interjected. If it had been before, Pandeo would have been a little unsure, but after seeing this lady, Pandeo was 100% certain that the body was under the track of the playground. As soon as Yang Lin said this, everyone looked at him with doubtful eyes again. After doubting it, Lu Ming couldn't help but ask. Teacher Yang, why do you say that? Is there something special about her? Of course there is something special about it. In fact, Pandeo has never been in a situation like hers in his life. To say it's bad luck is an understatement. If Pandeo is not wrong, she should have very few things going well in her life. Pandeo is not wrong. Suddenly asked by Yang Lin, the young woman was stunned for a moment, and then nodded crazily. Yes, yes. Taoist priest, you are so right. I have been having all kinds of bad luck since the year my dad disappeared. First I failed the college entrance examination, and then I repeated my studies for 2 years and failed to pass. Later, I finally got into a junior college, but the school closed down after only 2 years. Not only that, I'm 28 this year and I haven't even been in a relationship. It seems like all the boys hate me. I was hit by a battery car when I went out this morning. As the young woman told her story, everyone present was stunned. If it was true as she said, then she was simply unlucky. At the same time, everyone also had a doubt as to why Yang Lin seemed to see at a glance that she would be so unlucky. At this time, Yang Lin finally gave the answer. Speaking of which, your bad luck is also related to your father's bones. Your father has been buried under the playground track for so many years, and has to be stepped on by countless people every day. Under such circumstances, if you can still live to this age, it is already a great virtue of your ancestors. After listening to Yang Lin's explanation, everyone suddenly realized. He felt even more sympathy for this woman in his heart. On the other side, Lu Ming, after receiving Yang Lin's specific instructions, immediately walked towards the school playground with his police officers. In the process, a large number of curious passers-by and school staff also joined in. After all, what happened this time was too mysterious. After they reached the general area, Yang Lin once again pointed to a sycamore tree nearby and said, if Pandeo's calculation is correct, you should be able to find the body by starting from this tree, walking 10 steps eastward, and then digging down 2 meters. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, the pickaxe in Lu Ming's hand had already dug heavily into the runway in front of him. Upon seeing this, other police officers quickly joined in the excavation. And those who were watching immediately locked their eyes on the place where everyone was digging. The same goes for the camera footage of the program crew. Under the gaze of countless eyes, a large pit gradually appeared on the playground. After half an hour of excavation work, a rotten woven bag appeared in front of everyone. Then there were some tattered clothes, and then a pale shin bone. With the appearance of this tibia, the police officers involved in the excavation work were immediately shocked. Found it? The bones were found. As soon as he finished speaking, the scene was in an uproar. Perhaps they were worried that it would affect the excavation work, so they did not make too much noise. Until a complete skeleton was dug out from the bottom of the pit by a group of policemen, everyone finally couldn't hold it any longer. Oh my God! There is really a body buried down here. Could it be the corpses from the previous mass graves? What are you thinking about? This body was obviously placed in a woven bag. How could it be from a previous mass grave? Based on my experience of watching more than 10 criminal investigation dramas, this corpse shouldn't be too old, only about 10 years. I also saw that the body must have been alive before death. Yes, the deceased was either a man or a woman, either during the day or at night. Forensic doctor, where is the forensic doctor? How can there be a forensic doctor at the police station? Without forensic verification, the identity of the deceased may not be proven for the time being. Although it is 80% certain that this body is that of the construction site accountant who disappeared 10 years ago, final verification is still needed. While everyone was in an uproar, all the policemen at Zhangjiawan police station were also extremely excited. Before that, they were worried about not finding the body. They didn't expect that the body would be dug out so smoothly. And all this was just a few words from Yang Lin. After finally getting over the excitement, they were ready to confirm the identity of the deceased. But soon they discovered an embarrassing problem. Lusuo, we still have to report it to the city bureau. We don't have a forensic doctor in our institute, so there is no way to confirm the identity of the deceased. Yes, this corpse has been severely reduced to bones. There is no useful information at all, and there is no way to prove that he is the person we are looking for. Why don't we ask the city bureau to send a forensic doctor over now? Faced with the questions raised by everyone, Lu Ming naturally realized it. However, just when he was about to call the city bureau for help, Yang Lin's voice came from the side again. It doesn't have to be so troublesome. Pandeo only needs to take a general look to know whether he is the person we are looking for. Hearing Yang Lin's words, the eyes of everyone present were attracted by him again. The next second, Yang Lin slowly walked into the pit under everyone's gaze, and then reached out to inspect the bones. Everyone thought he was just talking casually. But Yang Lin's next move made their eyes widen. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 175. In the deep pit, as Yang Lin stretched out his hand towards the white bones, the eyes of everyone present also shifted. And at this moment, Yang Lin suddenly spoke. Based on the pelvis and skull of the deceased is male. He was 1.7 centimeters tall when he was alive, and was slightly fat, about 180 pounds. Based on the epiphyseal closure of the deceased was about 42 years old at the time of death. The deceased's left calf bone had been fractured. The deceased was about 38 years old when the fracture occurred. Suddenly hearing the information dictated by Yang Lin, the police officers present did not react for a while. After several seconds, Lu Ming took out a pen and paper from his pocket and wrote down the information Yang Lin said one by one. The expression on the face of the young woman who came earlier became excited as she listened. This is just the beginning. After analyzing the basic information of the deceased, Yang Lin continued his analysis. The scratches caused by a sharp instrument between the third and fourth ribs of the deceased are presumed to be fatal injuries. Based on the angle and depth of the scratches, the murder weapon should be a fruit knife with a blade length of 20 centimeters. The murderer committed the murder with his right hand and is about 18 centimeters tall. He is most likely a premeditated murder. When they heard this, everyone was already a little numb. If Yang Lin is still like before this time, and everything is solved with a pinch of his fingers, then they can be more accepting. But this time Yang Lin not only did not act as usual, but also analyzed the situation of the deceased very seriously. All information given has substantial evidence. This process is beyond everyone's imagination. After Yang Lin analyzed all the information related to the deceased bit by bit, he took the pen and paper from Lu Ming's hand. Then while looking at the bones in front of him, he started drawing on the paper. In less than a minute, a simple pencil sketch appears on the paper. The side of the sketch recorded exactly the information he just read. Okay, this is all the information Pandeo got based on the bones of the deceased. Basically, the error rate will not exceed 5%. As Yang Lin spoke again, everyone who had been stunned just now finally came to their senses. As the on-site commander, Lu Ming took the notebook from Yang Lin immediately. When he saw the sketch above clearly, an expression of disbelief suddenly appeared on his face. The next second, he was seen saying to a young policeman standing aside, "Xiao Wu, have you brought Song Haiqiao's files?" After hearing Lu Ming's words, the young policeman nodded immediately. Take it, take it." As he spoke, he handed a folder into Lu Ming's hand. When Lu Ming opened the folder and compared the information inside with the information Yang Lin had just given, his hands immediately began to tremble. Following his gaze, I saw a 1-inch registration photo stuck on the upper left corner of the document. The middle-aged man in the registration photo looked exactly like the sketch Yang Lin had just drawn. Not only are the portraits the same, but the basic information recorded above is also exactly the same. From age to height, from life experience to background information, there is almost a 98% match. If Lu Ming hadn't been sure that Yang Lin had not seen this file before, he would have suspected that Yang Lin had read it based on it. Although Lu Ming didn't say a word at this moment. But when his appearance fell into the eyes of others, how could they not know what was happening? No way, Yang Lin really got everything right. Looking at Director Liu's appearance, I'm afraid he's more than a little right. I guess even the looks match. Tisk, 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 you can get so much information based on just a pair of bones. A professional forensic doctor can't do more than that. I remember Yang Lin said before that when he was on the mountain, he also read the collection of redress of wrongs. It couldn't be that he learned it at that time. Before he started the autopsy, I wondered if he was going to summon the ghost of the deceased, but he actually did the autopsy seriously. When did Taoist priests stop engaging in metaphysics and engage in science? It turns out that the full name of Taoism is morality and rule of law. Just when everyone was filled with emotion, Lu Ming also informed the young woman of the information in his hand. After he finished speaking, the young woman couldn't hold herself any longer and knelt down in front of the bones with a plop. "Dad! I finally found you. You have suffered all these years, woo woo woo." Obviously, with Yang Lin's autopsy results, there is no doubt about the identity of the deceased. After seeing the woman's grief-stricken expression, everyone present didn't know what to say. Although the appearance of the body cleared her father's suspicion, it also shattered the last trace of her thoughts. For a while, the scene fell into silence. I don't know how much time passed before the woman, whose eyes were red from crying, stood up again. The first thing she did when she stood up was to walk in front of Lu Ming. "Uncle Lu, my father's body has been found. Now I just want to know who killed him in the first place. Who buried his body here? You must catch this murderer." After hearing these words, Lu Ming first let out a long sigh, and then said with a serious face, "Don't worry, now that your father's body has been found, we will never let the real culprit behind the scenes go unpunished. But you have to give us time. After all, it has been 10 years since this case happened, and the traces left at the scene have long been destroyed." But before he finished speaking, Yang Lin suddenly walked towards a place not far away. He didn't stop until he was almost at the base of the courtyard wall. At the beginning, everyone didn't quite understand what he wanted to do. But at this moment, he suddenly punched the courtyard wall in front of him. Boom! Everyone only heard a bang, and he punched a hole in the courtyard wall. The next second, with everyone's shocked eyes, his right hand reached into the hole in the courtyard wall. After some groping, he took out a rusty fruit knife from the mezzanine of the courtyard wall. In an instant, everyone present was in an uproar again. Just now Lu Ming was still there saying that the traces at the scene had been destroyed, but Yang Lin turned around and found the murder weapon. The murderous knife is here. If nothing else, the murderer should be one of the people responsible for building this school. You only need to find a few people who were closely related to the deceased at the scene, and Pandeo should be able to find the murderer. As Yang Lin said these words in an understatement, the police officers present could only nod. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 176. With the emergence of the murderous knife, the case gradually moved to a new stage. Just as Yang Lin said, the person who could hide the murderous knife in the mezzanine of the courtyard wall must be one of the original builders. Combined with the information about the murderer that Yang Lin just analyzed, the murderer's identity has been locked to a very small range. After understanding this, Lu Ming made another call to the municipal bureau. Just half an hour after he made the call, several police cars roared over. After the police car stopped at the school gate, an unusually familiar figure of Yang Lin appeared in his field of vision. Surprisingly, he is Qin Feng, the current deputy director of the Jinghai City Public Security Bureau. Also appearing at the same time was a middle-aged man with a big belly. Before they could get closer, Lu Ming, the deputy director, immediately rushed forward to greet them. Bureau Qin, why are you here in person? Such a big thing happened, how could I not come? After receiving your call, I brought you the person you were looking for as soon as possible. While talking, Qin Feng walked towards Yang Lin. Daozang Yang, I didn't expect that we would have the opportunity to work together. If I had known that you were going to experience working in our public security system, I would have arranged for you to be assigned to the Criminal Investigation Detachment, where you would be able to play a greater role. Hearing Qin Feng's words, Yang Lin just smiled. It doesn't matter. Pandeo thinks the police station is actually quite good. We encountered a big case today. After the two exchanged pleasantries, the middle-aged man with a big belly was brought to the corpse. And he was Niu Daejiang, the contractor who worked with the deceased 10 years ago. 10 years later, he has become a well-known entrepreneur, running a local resource recycling company in Jinghai with a net worth of tens of millions. Niu Daejiang, you were the one who reported to our police station 10 years ago that Song Haiqiao had absconded with money. Now his body is here. Do you have anything to say? Following Lu Ming's slightly questioning words, Niu Daejiang was stunned for a moment, and then said with a wry smile. Comrade police, ask me, how do I know? It was indeed me who called the police, but I didn't know that Lao Song had someone kill him. Besides, there were hundreds of people on the entire construction site, and several of them had conflicts with Lao Song. Why did you arrest me? At the beginning, I had the best relationship with Lao Song. It has to be said that his psychological quality is still very good. Facing the bones beside him, his expression remains normal. And his performance also made everyone murmur. It's not necessarily him. If a normal murderer knew that his body that had been buried for 10 years was found, he would probably panic immediately. Yeah, if he is really the murderer, then his psychological quality is too awesome. But his height and weight are basically similar to what Yang Lin analyzed just now. Even if it is really him, as long as he beats him to death and refuses to admit it, there is no way to convict him. It seems that this is really the case. Until now, everything is Yang Lin's speculation, and there is no substantive evidence. Seeing that Niu Daejiang refused to admit it and showed no flaws in his expression, Lu Ming's brows immediately wrinkled. He couldn't help but look at Yang Lin again. But Yang Lin was looking at Niu Daejiang calmly at this moment. After a moment, he said in a calm tone. The layman's traitorous family is surrounded by black energy, his eyebrows are unnaturally long, and he has a black mole at the base of his mountain. He may be in jail in the near future. As soon as these words came out, Niu Daejiang noticed Yang Lin beside him. After seeing him in Taoist robes, Niu Daejiang immediately let out a faint smile. When will the police rely on Taoist priests to handle cases? Little Taoist, I have read your news and know that you are good at calculations, but in this society ruled by law, the things you calculated cannot be used as evidence. If you just convict me without evidence, I will file a complaint against you. By the way, I am very busy with my business. If you are not sure that I am the murderer, then I will leave. Niu Daejiang's unscrupulous appearance immediately made the surrounding police officers' teeth itch. But just as he said, they currently don't have any evidence in their hands that can convict him. Even the murderous knife could not be fingerprinted due to its age. As for the deceased, there was nothing on him. But at this moment, Yang Lin showed a confident expression. Are you so sure that we have no evidence of your crime? Then do you want to take a look at what's in that pit? Suddenly hearing Yang Lin's words, Niu Daejiang subconsciously glanced in the direction of the bones. But just this look made his whole body tremble violently. I saw a white skeleton that was originally lying in the pit slowly stood up. As the mandible opened and closed, a familiar voice came from Baigu's body. Ah Jiang, why do you want to kill me? Why do you say I took away the 100,000 yuan that was used to pay workers' wages? Do you know how I have lived these past 10 years? Listening to this familiar voice, Niu Daejiang's face instantly showed an expression of extreme horror. However, this is only the beginning. After Baigu opened his mouth, he slowly walked towards the direction of Niu Daejiang. A layer of rotten flesh slowly grew on top of the original white bones, but there was always a big bloody hole in the chest. Ah Jiang, my heart hurts so much, do you feel it? Let me stab you too, just once, and then I'll bury you in this cold, dark soil. As he spoke, a cruel smile appeared on the face of the corpse. At some point, a rusty fruit knife appeared on his right hand. When the rotten corpse raised the rusty fruit knife in his hand, Niu Daejiang, who was already on the verge of collapse, finally couldn't bear it anymore. With a plop he fell to his knees. Brother Song. Just spare me. I'm not a human, I'm a beast. I shouldn't have been obsessed with killing you, and I shouldn't have unjustly accused you of taking the money and absconding. But I had no choice. I didn't have a penny in my hand at the time. If I couldn't pay my wages, the workers would beat me to death. So that's all I can do. Please don't kill me, I'll kowtow to you, I'll make amends to you. While Niu Daejiang was crying bitterly and kowtowing to the corpse in front of him to beg for mercy, everyone present was dumbfounded. In their eyes, Niu Daejiang, who was originally extremely arrogant, suddenly fell to his knees on the ground as if he had seen a ghost. Then he confessed all his murderous crimes like a bamboo tube pouring beans. The development of the entire incident was completely beyond their understanding. Thinking of some possibility, everyone couldn't help but shudder. They couldn't help but glance back and forth at the bones on the ground and Yang Lin beside them. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 177. Watching Niu Daejiang kowtow on the ground one after another, he was still telling the story of his crime that year. The police officers present felt as if they were in a dream. There is also a chilly feeling on the back. 1 second he was still denying everything, but the next second he was suddenly like that. There are only 2 words that everyone can think of at this moment: hell. Also thinking of this were the viewers in the live broadcast room. What is going on? Why did this person suddenly confess his crime? Didn't you see that his face turned pale with fright just now? And he just kept talking there. There was obviously nothing in front of him. No one said anything. Isn't the deceased lying there? Did he see something that we couldn't see? Fuck, stop talking. If you say anything else, I won't be able to sleep at night. Maybe it was the ghost of the deceased who appeared. He would be frightened like this only if he saw the ghost of the deceased. It couldn't be that Yang Lin invited the deceased here. Don't tell me, it's really possible. If so, it would be so exciting. Just as everyone was talking about it, Qin Feng immediately winked at the two policemen beside him. The two police officers immediately took out handcuffs and cuffed Niu Dejiang on the ground. Perhaps because of the cold touch of the handcuffs, Niu Dejiang, who had been trapped in a hallucination, finally woke up. Looking at the motionless bones in front of him and the people around him, he finally let out a long sigh. Take away. Following Qin Feng's order, Niu Dejiang, who personally admitted the crime he committed, was quickly put into a police car. So far, the unsolved case that occurred 10 years ago has been solved. The charges against the deceased Song Haiqiao were also cleared. His daughter burst into tears on the spot, while the onlookers cheered. After the cheers in the field calmed down slightly, Qin Feng, the deputy director, walked up to Yang Lin with a grateful look on his face. Thank you, Taoist master, although I don't know what method you used just now. If it weren't for you, we don't know how much time we would have wasted. Faced with Qin Feng's thanks, Yang Lin was very indifferent. You're welcome. This is Pandeo's job today. I just used a little hypnosis on him. As soon as these words came out, he undoubtedly admitted that Niu Dejiang's strange behavior just now was related to him, and the faces of the policemen present instantly showed a look of amazement. It turned out to be hypnosis. No wonder he suddenly said everything. It's amazing. When did Teacher Yang hypnotize him? I don't know. If we know how to do this, when we interrogate prisoners in the future, it won't be accurate every time we ask. Ask him for advice when you have time. Of course, this was only the thought of the police officers present, but the old fans of Yang Lin in the live broadcast room did not think so. These policemen are so naive. They believe in hypnosis. That's right, how could it be hypnotism? It's obviously a spell, but it has to be disguised as hypnosis. In my opinion, it was Yang Lin who found the ghost of the deceased just now, so the suspect was frightened like that. Treat us like muggles. Naturally, Yang Lin didn't know what the fans in the live broadcast room were thinking. Even if he knew, he would laugh it off. At this moment, he only knew that today's case was over here, and he didn't need to worry about the rest. But just when he was about to follow Lu Ming and others back to Zhangjiawan police station, Qin Feng suddenly stopped him. Dea Zhang Yang, can you come to the city bureau tomorrow? Tomorrow the municipal bureau will have a skills competition. I would like to invite you as the special guest to guide the work of our municipal bureau. Suddenly hearing Qin Feng's words, before Yang Lin could react, Lu Ming on the side said excitedly. Bureau Qin, you don't want to send Teacher Yang to the city bureau, do you? That's not okay. He was sent to our office. Obviously after the case just now, Lu Ming has realized the power of Yang Lin. With Yang Lin here, the efficiency of handling cases in their office has increased by more than 10 times. If he was taken away, where would he find such a powerful person to come back? Facing the emotional Lu Ming, Qin Feng immediately glared at him. You kid can hit the abacus very loudly. You think that's all the cases you can't solve? How many serious cases are there in the city? It is better to teach people to fish than to teach them how to fish. Wouldn't it be better to let Taoist Yang guide our work and improve our abilities? Ah! After being retorted by Qin Feng, Lu Ming seemed to think that this was the case. But at the same time, he couldn't help but have a doubt. If we let Teacher Yang guide us in our work, is it possible that he will teach us fortune telling? Before he could ask the question in his mind, Qin Feng, who had already received a satisfactory answer from Yang Lin, turned around and left the scene. Things have truly come to an end here. Half an hour later, everyone in the Zhangjiawan police station returned to the police station together with Yang Lin. But as soon as their front legs came back and their buttocks were still warm from sitting, an auxiliary police officer on duty in the police reception hall ran in a hurry. Lucio, you are finally back. A mother just came to our place and called the police, saying that her daughter ran away from home after leaving a suicide note. Now there's a good chance her daughter is somewhere preparing to commit suicide. As soon as these words came out, Lu Ming, who had just taken a big sip of tea, spit it out on the spot. When did this happen? Just 10 minutes ago, and now that lady is going crazy. As he spoke, the young auxiliary policeman told the story exactly as it happened. When Lu Ming learned that the missing child was a 14-year-old girl, his expression immediately changed. At 14 years old, he should be in junior high school. Children of this age are at their most sensitive and vulnerable. If she really left a suicide note, there is a high possibility that she would actually commit suicide. We have to find her immediately. As he spoke, he picked up the hat on the table. But just when he was about to lead everyone in the police station out, Yang Lin stood up on the side. Take Pandeo with you. Maybe I can help you find her. As soon as these words came out, the police officers present were overjoyed. After witnessing Yang Lin's unpredictable methods, they now had no doubts about Yang Lin. If Yang Lin is willing to help calculate the location of the little girl who ran away from home, it will undoubtedly be a great help to their rescue work. Just when a group of them walked out of the police station door, an emotionally out of control middle-aged woman rushed straight towards them. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 178. Comrade Police, you must find my daughter. She is only 14 years old. If something happens to her, I won't be able to survive. At the door of the police station, the middle-aged woman who had lost control of her emotions had just approached, and she almost fell to her knees on the ground. Upon seeing this, Lu Ming hurriedly reached out to help him. Ma'am, please calm down. We already know your situation. Now we have dispatched all police forces to help find your daughter, but please be sure to cooperate with us. Just after finishing her words of persuasion, the middle-aged woman finally regained some sense. And at this moment, Yang Lin's voice suddenly sounded from the side. This layman, do you have your daughter's birthday and horoscope on your body? Suddenly hearing this question, the middle-aged woman immediately looked at Yang Lin. After seeing the Taoist robe on his body, a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. He seemed to be wondering why a Taoist priest appeared here. I'm even more confused as to why I need to ask for birthdates when looking for someone. When Lu Ming saw this, he quickly explained. This is the special advisor to our police station. If you want to find your daughter quickly, I suggest you do what he asks. After hearing Lu Ming's explanation, although the middle-aged woman still had doubts on her face, she finally started rummaging around in her bag. After a moment, she took out a pen and paper, and wrote down a line of numbers. After she handed the paper with the numbers to Yang Lin, the expression on her face became anxious again. But Yang Lin didn't keep her waiting too long. After taking the note, his fingers began to calculate. In just a few seconds, he showed a confident look. If Pandeo's calculation is correct, your daughter should be on the Beigong Bridge 10 kilometers away from here now. Presumably she wanted to end her life by jumping off the bridge. But she probably won't choose to jump for a while. As soon as these words came out, the police officers present immediately felt their spirits shaken. Let's go. Go to Beigong Bridge. Following Lu Ming's order, more than a dozen police officers present, together with Yang Lin and the middle-aged woman, roared away in the direction of the Beigong Bridge in police cars. When everyone in the program team saw this, they naturally drove there in the same way. In less than 20 minutes, the police car they were riding in had already arrived at the Beigong Cross Sea Bridge. Before they even got close, they saw a young figure standing by the railing of the bridge's sidewalk in the distance. The moment she saw this figure, the middle-aged woman's expression became excited. It's my daughter, it's my daughter. I knew she wouldn't really commit suicide. After saying that, she prepared to walk towards the middle of the bridge. When Lu Ming and others saw this, they naturally followed quickly. However, when they were less than 30 meters away from the girl who was looking at the sea in a daze suddenly discovered them. Almost instantly, the expression on the girl's face became abnormal. "Don't come over here. If you come over again, I will really jump." After saying that, she made a move to climb over the railing. When this scene fell into the eyes of everyone present, everyone was instantly frightened and broke into cold sweats. The middle of the Bagan Cross Sea Bridge is nearly 70 meters above the sea. If you jump from such a height, even if you fall into the sea water, it will be the same as hitting the concrete floor. I was afraid that I would be shattered to pieces on the spot. And just when everyone was breaking out in cold sweat, the middle-aged woman showed an angry look on her face. "Li Tian, tell me why you did this. Do you know how difficult it is for me to pull you up to this size by myself? Now you are willing to live and die for a trivial matter. Have you ever considered my feelings? I love you so much. If you can, jump now." Upon hearing the middle-aged woman's aggressive words, Lu Ming quickly grabbed her. "Ma'am, please don't irritate her at this time. If you continue like this, there will be no way for our rescue to start." As soon as he finished speaking, the girl from before was already straddling the railing. And she herself had already burst into tears. "Mom, I beg you not to love me anymore. Your love is suffocating me, I'm so tired. You always do the same thing, and at this point you are kidnapping me with morality. Forget it, you will never reflect on yourself anyway, just let everything end like this." As soon as she finished speaking, the girl closed her eyes, and then her body began to lean forward. Seeing this scene, whether it was the police present, pedestrians on the bridge, or the audience watching the scene directly through the camera, they all let out bursts of exclamation. Many people even closed their eyes on the spot, afraid to watch the tragedy that happened next. Seeing that a young girl was about to die on the spot, a circle of rope flew out in the direction of the girl like a spiritual snake. The moment the girl was about to fall off the bridge, the rope was tightly wrapped around the girl's body. The next second the girl was hanging directly in mid-air. It was only at this moment that everyone present finally reacted. Looking along the other end of the rope, I saw a figure wearing a Taoist robe tightly holding the other end of the rope. "It's Teacher Yang." Suddenly, all the police officers present screamed. "Oh my God, how did Teacher Yang do it? When did he get that roll of rope? I don't know. I didn't dare to look at it just now. No matter how he did it, people were saved by him anyway. It's really too extreme. It's just that far away. Unless you can fly, there's no way to save her. Stop talking so much and pull people up quickly." As he spoke, the police officers present started to rescue the girl who was hanging by the rope. The mother of the girl on the other side also ran over quickly when she saw this. The scene just now clearly frightened her. But before she could get closer, Yang Lin's figure stopped in front of her. "Householder, you can't get close to her now. If you get close to her now, even if we save her this time, she will definitely continue to take other drastic actions next time. And the knot between you two has already formed. If the knot is not resolved, the bond between you two as mother and daughter will come to an end." As soon as Yang Lin said these words, the face of the girl's mother suddenly changed. At the same time, the girl on the other side was equally excited. No matter how much the police tried to persuade her, it was of no use. The situation at the scene reached a deadlock in an instant. At this moment, Yang Lin took out a jade gourd from somewhere. "Actually, it's very simple to untie the knot between the two of you. As long as you two drink the Huangliang wine in this gourd at the same time, you two can exchange identities and live as each other." As soon as these words came out, everyone present immediately cast curious glances. Even that girl is no exception. Just because what Yang Lin said was too bizarre. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 179. Exchange identities and live as the other person. This was something that many people had fantasized about, but no one expected that Yang Lin would actually say that he could do it by drinking the wine from his gourd. After being stunned for a long while, the girl was the first to react. Brother, are you telling the truth? Can I really switch identities with my mother? Hearing the girl's question, Yang Lin nodded without thinking. Of course, as long as both of you are willing, you two can swap bodies and live as each other from now on. What do you think about it? After receiving Yang Lin's affirmative answer, the girl's originally unstable mood gradually became stable. At the same time, she looked at her mother again. Don't you always say that I don't understand you? Let's switch bodies today, don't you dare. As soon as she finished speaking, her mother walked up to Yang Lin angrily. Just change it, and let you know how I live every day. As the two made decisions one after another, Yang Lin immediately smiled and poured a glass of wine from the gourd for the mother and daughter. The two of them just glanced at the odorless wine in their hands and drank it down in one gulp. As soon as the drink entered their throats, the two of them felt dizzy. When the two of them opened their eyes again, what appeared in front of them was their familiar face. Thinking of what Yang Lin said just now, the two of them quickly checked their bodies. The next second, the two people's eyes showed disbelief. Because at this moment their bodies clearly belonged to each other. After experiencing a huge shock, the girl whose soul came to her mother immediately said with excitement. Ha ha ha, great, I don't have to go to school starting today. I'm an adult. As she said this, she was ready to thank Yang Lin who was beside her. But at this moment, there are still shadows of Yang Lin and others around, and even the previous policemen from the police station are nowhere to be found. However, she didn't think much about it and just assumed that Yang Lin and others left on their own while they were exchanging bodies. And just when she was feeling inexplicably excited, her mother, who had inherited her body, also had a strange feeling. The body that was originally in pain now became lighter than ever before. The whole person seemed to be reborn. Just when she was in a daze, a girl's mature and childish voice came from the side. Why are you so dazed? From today on, I am my mother. You go to school for me today. By the way, call mom to listen. When she suddenly heard the girl's words, her first reaction was to step forward and take action. But after thinking about it carefully, she lowered her raised hand again. At the same time, a strange smile appeared on her face. Okay, then starting from today, I go to school, you go to work, and the exchange of lives officially begins. Teacher Yang, how long will the two of them sleep? On the bridge, Lu Ming and other police officers from the police station looked at the unconscious mother and daughter in front of them with curiosity and confusion. Just now they watched with their own eyes as Yang Lin just walked up to the two of them and said a few words, and then the two of them fell asleep directly. It has been 10 minutes now, and neither of them has woken up yet. If their breathing was not stable, they would have thought that both mother and daughter were sick at the same time. Come on, you should wake up soon. Just after Yang Lin said these words calmly, the mother and daughter who had fallen into a coma suddenly opened their eyes together. And their eyes also changed drastically as their eyelids opened. First confused, then horrified, and finally moved. In the next second, under the gaze of countless pairs of eyes, the mother and daughter hugged each other tightly. Mom, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so angry with you before. I didn't know it was so hard to be a mother. Please forgive me. Silly boy, it's Mom's fault. Mom put too much pressure on you before. Mom shouldn't do things that hurt you in the name of your good, and shouldn't make all the decisions for you. I will never force you to study again. As they spoke, the mother and daughter hugged each other and cried, and all the cracks and barriers in their hearts were resolved. When this state of the two fell into the eyes of everyone present, everyone felt a sense of disbelief. The mother and daughter, who were at odds just a second ago, suddenly reconciled. They can even say considerate words to each other. This is really incredible. It was in sharp contrast to the stubborn and extreme personalities of the mother and daughter before. What on earth is going on? How come the two of them reconciled all of a sudden? Yeah, with that mother's energy just now, I feel like she never realizes what her problem is all her life. Just like my mother, she has always been self-centered, playing tricks of self-impression every day, and trying to convince her is even harder than climbing to the sky. Don't talk about the mother. My daughter also has problems. It's not easy for a single mother to support an older child. So they too suddenly became enlightened. Needless to say, it must have something to do with the fact that they suddenly fell into a coma just now. Did Yang Lin do it again? It's probably hypnosis again. This ability would be unmatched by a psychiatrist. Just when the audience in the live broadcast room felt incredible, Lu Ming also cautiously came to Yang Lin's side. Teacher Yang, can you secretly tell me what you just did? Why did the conflict between the two of them resolve so quickly? We are most afraid of encountering this kind of thing. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, Yang Lin showed a faint smile. It's nothing, I just gave them to a dream. They probably dreamed of something in their dreams. Dream. Hearing this word, Lu Ming's eyes were full of disbelief, but he also had a keen eye. Seeing that Yang Lin didn't want to say more, he didn't continue to ask. For him, successfully saving a life and saving a family is more important than anything else. With the reconciliation between mother and daughter, this sudden incident has come to an end. The time finally came to the afternoon. Just like in the morning, the Zhangjiawan police station with Yang Lin in charge seemed to have a plug-in activated. In just one afternoon, dozens of cases were solved. Together with the cases detected in the morning, the Zhangjiawan police station's crime detection rate jumped directly to the first in Jinghai City. When the time came in the evening, the program team specially edited the daily work content of several celebrities into videos and uploaded them to the official website and accounts of major social platforms. Yang Lin also deservedly became the MVP of the game again. Unsurprisingly, his daytime work content also made it to the hot search list. Compared to him, the first day of work for several other celebrity artists was not so smooth. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 180. It was also his first day at work. Not only did Kun Kun, a real estate consultant, fail to make a single sale on his first day, he was also exposed to the sun all day long. As a junior high school teacher, Boss Yang almost didn't get mad at the naughty kid on the first day of class. Of course, the worst thing is not the two of them. Hua, who was selected as a takeaway rider, lost 2 takeaways on her first day at work, received 3 complaints, and was overtime a total of 5 times. Finally, when she was about to get off work, she was fined 50 yuan by the traffic police for not wearing a helmet. After all, not only did I not earn a penny in one day, but I also lost dozens of dollars. Faced with such a result, netizens couldn't stand it any longer. It made me laugh so hard. This is the normal state of being a working man. Although I earn less than before, I am more tired than before. That is to say, it turns out I'm not the only one who goes to work every day and ends up not making any money. That's the smell. Yes, that's what it looks like when I go to work. It turns out that stars have lost their halo, just like us. Let me just say that this class is not that easy to get into. I feel sorry for my family Pigeon. I also want to support Pigeon's work, but my strength does not allow it. Don't feel bad for Gagag, just feel bad for Hua. He probably has doubts about life. I heard that Reba almost sent the plaintiff she represented into prison today. Then everyone's situation is different. Didn't Yang Lin adapt well today? Indeed, he solved dozens of cases on his first day on the job. He is truly a genius detective. Single-handedly, I accomplished the KPI of the police station for the entire year. I have a hunch that if Yang Lin continues to maintain this rhythm, the crime rate in the entire Jinghai area will drop significantly. Who would have thought that the two professions of Taoist priest and police officer would be so well matched? The left hand is Taoist law, the right hand is criminal law, all laws are unified. While there was an uproar on the internet, the next day came as expected. Because of Qin Feng's invitation, Yang Lin took the program team's van to the gate of the Jinghai City Public Security Bureau early in the morning. Before he could get out of the car, a young policeman whom he had met before was already waiting there. Under the leadership of this young policeman, Yang Lin and others were quickly taken to a training ground behind the city bureau. As soon as they entered the training ground, the lively scene in front of them made everyone in the program team and the audience in the live broadcast room shine. In the training ground at this moment, thousands of police officers wearing black training uniforms were training enthusiastically. Some are practicing physical fitness, some are practicing shooting, and some are practicing close combat. Such a shocking training scene made everyone's blood boil with excitement. Just when everyone's eyes were looking at the police officers who were training, Qin Feng, wearing a white shirt, walked towards Yang Lin's direction. Taoist Master Yang, thank you for coming today. You have also seen today's scene. In fact, I just want you to guide them once or twice to improve their abilities in all aspects. It doesn't take much, just a little guidance. Faced with Qin Feng's respectful attitude, Yang Lin also nodded slightly. Don't take it seriously. After all, Pandeo is not that good at some things. Then you should start with what you are good at, or let's take a look over there first. As he spoke, Qin Feng led Yang Lin to a sand pit at the edge of the training ground. At this time, in the sand pit, two young men wearing vests and showing off their strong muscles were fighting in the sand pit. The two of them were obviously not ordinary police officers. Not only did they have sharp moves, they were also quite methodical. Even Yang Lin nodded from time to time. When Qin Feng saw this, a hint of pride appeared on his face. Qin Feng on the side saw this and quickly shouted into the sand pit. It absorbs Tai Chi, Mizongquan, Changquan, Nanquan, Shaolin 72-way grappling hands and 32-way small grappling hands and many other traditional martial arts techniques such as grappling and throwing. Seeing Yang Lin's insistence, Sun Long couldn't say anything more. They never knew that Yang Lin was proficient in fighting. The rest of you, watch and study hard. At the same time, they looked at Yang Lin with curiosity. However, just when his fist hit Yang Lin directly in the face, Yang Lin, who had been carrying his hands, suddenly stretched out his fist. Taoist Master, I know you may have learned some boxing and kicking skills, but those boxing and kicking skills are still somewhat different from specialized fighting skills. These two people are elite soldiers of our armed police detachment. They use the 5th-generation military and police fighting skills of our Dragon Kingdom. Daozang Yang, you defeated 7 gunmen by yourself before. You must have extremely high attainments in fighting. Not only did they have such an idea, the big man in the bunker whom Qin Feng called Sun Long was also very puzzled. Unconsciously, the words Yang Lin just said rang in his mind. Pandeo doesn't know how to fight, but after watching their fight just now, Pandeo's hands are indeed itchy. Upon hearing Qin Feng's introduction, several members of the program team who were in charge of filming immediately praised him. The next second, Sun Long's stomach seemed to hit Yang Lin's fist directly. Hearing Qin Feng's words, Yang Lin immediately smiled and shook his head. Pandeo is not good at fighting. I'm afraid I'll hurt you if I strike. Why don't you put on protective gear? It's okay. Although Pandeo is not very good at fighting skills, he has also practiced some health-preserving boxing techniques. If you meet ordinary gangsters, they can fight 5 of them without any problem. It also incorporates the strengths of popular fighting elements in today's world, such as Sanda, kickboxing, Jeet Kune Do, boxing, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai and other foreign fighting sports. As soon as these words came out, Yang Lin showed an expression of indifference. An expression of extreme pain instantly appeared on his face, and his body bowed into the shape of a shrimp. After the fermentation of the internet, it can be said that 90% of the people present know Yang Lin. After both sides were ready, he attacked in the direction of Yang Lin with a serious look on his face. In addition, he happened not to like surfing the internet very much, so after seeing Yang Lin wearing Taoist robes, he immediately reminded him with a kind face. "Li Chuang, come down and let Taoist Yang have a fight with Sun Long." As his figure flashed, his speed was almost twice as fast as that of an ordinary person. Health boxing. As soon as these words came out, the police officers who were originally surrounding the sand pit immediately made way for a passage. Like divination, medical skills, feng shui, and so on. Your body and bones are still strong, just use your fighting skills. But what they knew Yang Lin was good at was strange arts. After that, he walked straight towards the sand pit. "Why don't you take this opportunity to help me train these guys who usually don't know how high the world is, and let them know that there is a world outside the world, and there are people outside the world."